Good morning and welcome to the Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfiq Farzan, where we dive into the most important details of what's happening in Sri Lanka and around the world. Now, on the 21st of September, Sri Lankans will head to the polls to exercise their franchise to elect a new president. Now, while the whole political landscape is buzzing with activity, Sri Lanka police has reported receiving 43 complaints with regard to the violation of election laws or complaints related to the presidential election. Now, from these 43 complaints, 14 pertain to acts of violence, while the rest are related to the violation of election laws. Now, at the same time, Sri Lanka's Election Commission is also reporting a surge in the number of complaints that have been received with regard to the presidential election. Now, in total, the National Election Commission has received 925 complaints, with 901 specifically concerning the violation of election laws. Now, moving on, the National Election Commission has also said that the secure packages containing the postal voting ballots will be dispatched today. Now, they will be handed over to the Department of Post during the course of the day. Now, Deputy Postmaster General Rajit Ranasinghe confirmed that these secure packages will be dispatched to their final destinations during the course of the day. Now, in preparation for the upcoming presidential election, the leave for all postal workers have been cancelled with immediate effect. However, if there is an emergency for any postal worker, permission can be obtained for a leave from the respective regional chief from the Department of Post. Now, this year alone, a total of 712,319 government employees are eligible to exercise their franchise via postal voting. Now, postal voting will take place on the 4th, 5th and 6th of September. Now, if there are any government public officers or government servants who are unable to exercise their franchise on those 3 days, they can do so on the 11th and 12th of September, the two alternative days that have been allocated by the National Election Commission to exercise their postal voting franchise. Now, let's start with the story. In 2022, Sri Lanka defaulted on servicing its external debt. Now, many termed this as the country going bankrupt. At the same time, Sri Lanka also entered into a new IMF program, a 48-month program of approximately 3 billion US dollars that will be given to Sri Lanka in different tranches. Now, what's happening with this? Now, Sri Lanka has already had reviews and already received several tranches, with another IMF team expected to reach the country in October for the next review, which will also see the disbursement of the next tranche of the IMF program. Now, over the past few weeks, views have been expressed with regard to the IMF program. Now, you have on one side President Ranil stating that we need to stick with the IMF program, if not all the hard-won gains will be lost. And he says deviating from the IMF program will only result in another crisis. At the same time, key opposition factions the other presidential candidates, Anura and Sajith, their teams have emphasized that they will be revisiting the IMF agreement, or they will be renegotiating the IMF agreement once they come into office. How is this possible? Well, only the IMF can tell us whether it's possible or not. Now, however, President Ranil has challenged Anura and Sajith to participate in an open discussion with the International Monetary Fund. Now, he said that this will allow the entire nation to assess the truthfulness of the public promises and statements that have been made by Anura and Sajith on the election stage. Now, the President also highlighted that altering the agreement with the IMF is not feasible. He emphasized that such changes could lead to another economic collapse, with Premadasa and Dissanayaka's misleading promises of reduced prices and taxes potentially worsening the country's situation. And he also stressed the need to prevent such deceptions. Now, President Ranil, who is running as an independent candidate, noted that while he wishes to reduce the prices of goods and lower the taxes, such actions can only be achieved by strengthening the rupee and adhering to the agreements of the IMF. He urged Sajith Premadasa and Anura to immediately present any alternative solutions to seek their opinion during the discussion with the IMF. Now, the President was making these statements during the special convention of the UNP, or the United National Party, at its headquarters Sirikota in Pitakotte last morning. Now, he also said that it is important to avoid the past mistakes. Now, he said the terms of the IMF agreement are non-negotiable as they do not change their conditions. Now, he said that a similar situation occurred in Greece, leading to a severe economic collapse, a scenario that Sri Lanka is determined to avoid. Now, these were the sentiments expressed by Sri Lankan President Ranil at the UNP's special convention on Sunday. Now, another presidential candidate is Anura Dissanayake. Now, he is representing the National People's Power. Anura Dissanayake has outlined his vision for Sri Lanka's future, emphasizing a strong commitment to renewable energy and transparent investment policies. Now, Dissanayake highlighted a global shift towards renewable energy, predicting that by 2050, between 65 and 85% of the world's energy needs will be met by renewable energy sources. Now, he said that the National People's Power is ready to attract investments in the renewable energy sector, but with strict adherence to fair and transparent tender procedures. Now, drawing stark comparison, Dissanayake pointed out that from 1978 to 2022, Sri Lanka received $22 billion in direct foreign income, whereas Vietnam attracted $23 billion in just 1 year. He attributed Sri Lanka's lagging foreign direct investment to corruption, inefficiency, lack of insurances and instability. Now, Dissanayake assured both the local and foreign investors of a corruption-free environment, emphasizing that the government would not accept any form of bribe or favor. Now, meanwhile, another presidential candidate is Sajith Premadasa. Sajith Premadasa will be contesting from the Samagi Jana Bala Vegya. Now, Sajith Premadasa is also the country's opposition leader. Now, Sajith Premadasa has announced a series of initiatives to support local farmers and the local agriculture industry, as well as Sri Lanka's tourism sector. Now, speaking in the historic city of Polonnaruwa, Sajith Premadasa has pledged to provide a 50-kilogram high-quality bag of fertilizer at a subsidized price of 5,000 rupees to local farmers. Now, he also promised to regulate the prices of agrochemicals, oil and fertilizer to protect the farmers from black market price hikes. Now, in addition to these measures, Sajith Premadasa has announced plans to implement these initiatives transparently, without corruption or fraud, through agricultural service centers. He also revealed the fuel subsidy program for farmers, the fishing community, three-wheeler drivers, school transport services and mill owners utilizing a QR code system. Premadasa further committed to writing off the farming debt of farmers and ensuring a guaranteed price for their produce. Now, at the same time, Sri Lanka's State Finance Minister Ranjit Siyamvanapitiya has declared that details relating to taxes will be disclosed today in the presence of tax officials in the country. Now, he highlighted that approximately 900 bank accounts have been suspended in order to recover outstanding taxes, and emphasized that the government is committed to properly managing state revenue and addressing tax arrears. Now, he said despite the accusations that tax arrears have not been collected by the state, he asserted that the current measures represent an unprecedented effort to recover unpaid taxes and boost the government income. Now, at the same time, something interesting is about to happen. That's the arrival of a Indian Navy ship. The INS Mumbai will arrive at the port of Colombo today and will depart on the 29th of this month. Now, INS Mumbai, what is it? The INS Mumbai is a Delhi-class destroyer, indigenously built in India and commissioned into the Indian Navy in 2001. Now, the INS Mumbai will be bringing some spare parts or essential spares for the Dornier Maritime Patrol aircraft operated by Sri Lanka's Air Force. Now, it has been customary for Indian naval ships to make a port call in Sri Lankan ports when transiting between the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal. Now, the visit is also categorized as an operational turnaround visit, where the ship will replenish with fuel and other provisions. Now, at the same time, Sri Lanka has another major port apart from Colombo, which is the Hambantota port. Now, the Hambantota International Port has reported a significant increase in its volumes, achieving a 40% growth in 2024 to date. Now, the port's commercial and marketing division anticipates this growth to reach 50% by the end of the year. Now, significant growth has also been observed in the bulk and bulk-to-bulk gas, marine services and container segments of the Hambantota port. Now, the port is increasingly recognized for its strategic location and essential services, making it a preferred destination for transshipment and logistic services. Now, moving on to something that's developing overseas, that's a war in the Middle East, a conflict that has been brewing from the 7th of October last year. Now, to date, on both sides, that's from the Palestinian side, more than 40,000 people have been killed, including children and women. On the Israeli side, around 1,100 people have been killed, including military personnel. Now, while the whole Israel and Gaza conflict is escalating, another conflict is brewing on the other side, which is the Lebanon and Israeli conflict, or the Hezbollah and Israeli conflict. Now, over the weekend, Hezbollah fired a series of rockets into Israel as a retaliatory attack for the killing of one of its leaders a month ago. Now, patients and displaced Palestinians are fleeing the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital, the last functioning medical facility in central Gaza, after Israel issued more evacuation orders for the city. Now, the UN chief Antonio Guterres has appealed for immediate de-escalation after Israel and Hezbollah exchanged heavy fire across Lebanon's southern border. Now, Doctors Without Borders, known by its French acronym MSF, says it is considering suspending some services at the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Hospital after an explosion near the facility triggered panic and caused many people to leave the area. Now, Hezbollah leader Syed Hassan Nasrallah said the group's retaliatory attack against Israel over the assassination of senior commander Fouad Shukr last month has been completed as planned, and the main target for the operation was the Gilo intelligence base, which is located about 100 kilometers from the Israeli-Lebanon border. Now, Israel has denied that there was a hit on this base, however said that one soldier was killed in the attack. Now, in the crossfire, two Lebanese people were killed in Israeli attacks on the Lebanon side. Now, the UN, the UK and Jordan and several other countries have urged for a de-escalation of violence between the two sides. Now, at the same time, Sri Lankans in Israel have also been issued a warning by the country's embassy to stay safe and to avoid stepping out unless it is absolutely necessary. Now, Sri Lanka's ambassador to Israel announced the reopening of the main airport, Ben Gurion, in Israel. Now, he has advised Sri Lankans planning to travel to Israel to first consult the Sri Lanka Bureau of Foreign Employment or their respective travel agencies before confirming or finalizing their travel plans to Israel. Now, in light of the 48-hour state of emergency declared by Israel yesterday, Ambassador Nimal Bandara has urged Sri Lankans living in Israel to refrain from heading to work unless those places have shelters or safe houses ready for the Sri Lankans and others to rush and take cover in the event of an attack. Now, he also said that the Sri Lankans are safe in Israel and that the embassy is always in touch with them to ensure their safety. Well, over the weekend, you might have experienced a decrease in the rainfall in Sri Lanka. However, the Met Department is saying that several spells of light showers will occur in the western, Sabaragamuwa, southern and the northwestern provinces, as well as the Kandy and Nuwara area districts. Now, showers or thunder showers are expected in the Badulla and Ampara and Batticaloa districts of the country. Now, as usual, the Met Department is also issuing a warning to stay safe during these rainfalls, as sometimes these rainfall could be accompanied by lightning. So what you can do is always stay indoors and unplug those electrical appliances to stay safe during lightning strikes. Well, that brings an end to this morning's edition of the Breakfast Rundown with me, Zulfikar Farzan. Until we meet again, stay safe and God bless.